Hello, and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. This is a perfect example. These books about scientific inventions and how one person's idea sparks another person, how that gets followed up, sometimes over a large span of years. Other times, just in the person's own work. Starting out, getting maybe blocked here, and then they make a breakthrough, so whose bright idea was it? True Stories of Invention by Larry Verstraete. And this is a neat book. He's got a great index at the back, and he's got for further reading, and it includes, lo and behold, another book by him, The Serendipity Effect, and another book, Steve Caney's Invention book. Just a word about each of them. This book I've just found very enjoyable reading, and it made my mind connect with other things, and just laid out well, and very enjoyable. Now, this book, I want to share maybe something from this Serendipity Effect. I was going to share things from all the books, but I realized it was getting going to be a really long video if I did that. There's a great thing about an how the ice cream cone was invented at the St. Louis World's Fair, and but again, this great bibliography, and several of the books listed here I'm aware of, like Edward de Bono's Eureka. He didn't have Aha book in his list of that, but there's plenty here to follow up on. And this invention book by Steve Caney is, well, I think it helps probably to have a look inside. It's just very well laid out with diagrams, with photos, real, a lot of these have been done in more recent times, so that they can have real people in them. Here's an outdoor basketball action shot in 1892, and that the game of basketball was invented by Naismith in Canada. But certain places, that's around the world now as a sport. Levi's, snow bike, water skis, chocolate chip cookies. So I think you or your children would enjoy those. The next three are Canadian content, largely Canadian scientists and inventors. It includes the following. This is by Harry Black, short biographies. I wanted to read a little bit, though, from Dr. Abraham Gesner, doctor. Let me come back to that. Throughout his childhood, Abraham Gesner showed an exceptional interest in plants, animals, and particularly rocks. By the time he was 15 years old, he was filled with a spirit of adventure, and he shipped off to sea as an ordinary sailor on a square rigger sailing ship. But this was not at all what his well-to-do father had in mind for his son. When Abraham returned from one of his trips, his father called a family meeting that included the other 11 Gesner children. 11, and Abraham made 12. Cheaper by the dozen, I said. Prompted by the father, prompted by his father, their father, Abraham's 11 siblings agreed that Abraham should become a doctor, an occupation they considered to be far more respectable than a sailor. He became a doctor, and he traveled by horseback from one place to the next, and he carried out his geological explorations over vast regions of New Brunswick. Where his horse wouldn't go, Abraham went on foot or by canoe. He became a pioneer in the geology of the region. He, of course, is noted for the work that he did in extracting kerosene from coal. It did brighten the day or night, but it was often stinky, and you had to clean the glass of the so that the light could get out because it was smoky, and it had its drawbacks, in other words. Other person I wanted to mention was Wallace Rupert Turnbull. He was born in 1870 in Rothsay, New Brunswick, on the outskirts of St. John. He graduated in engineering from Cornell University at Ithaca, New York, and did postgraduate work in Berlin and Heidelberg in Germany. So he's already moving to get something in the United States, go to Germany, but when he comes back, he settles in Rothsay and established his own engineering office and created his own laboratory in a barn adjacent to his property. Except for a brief period during World War I, Turnbull remained there for the rest of his life and carried out most of his experimental work in his constantly expanding laboratory. Now, Turnbull was primarily an aeronautical engineer, but in his lifetime he worked on many other engineering challenges, including the harnessing of the tidal waters for hydroelectric energy. This latter venture was something that had also occupied his mind for most of his life. At the time of his death in 1954, he was working on a project to harness the power of the tides in the Bay of Fundy. Now, I taught school in Rothsay, New Brunswick. He was dead when I started to teach. His son lived in that house, and his son and his wife had 4 children. when I went to teach there, it was a junior high of 850 students, and I was going to be given a grade 7 to teach subjects. And I said, I'd really like to try to have the students virtually all the day and teach them not just English and history, but science and math and art and drama. And the principal said, yeah, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. And so the first year I had a granddaughter, Turnbull's granddaughter. And the next year I had the oldest son. And that 7th grade class, I took many of the students and went into grade 8 with them, and then grade 9. So I had that son for 3 years. And in doing that, I missed the second grandson, but I got the third son, Diggy. And so that was just an amazing experience altogether, that whole teaching experience. The Bay of Fundy has there are 5 spots in it that have the highest difference between high tide and low tide in the world. So you are getting a drop of water as the water recedes, you're getting water flowing that could be creating electricity. When it's coming in, again, you're getting, it's just a tremendous, those 5 sites. And so I thought I'd mention that. They still haven't done it yet, but he was working on that idea, and the idea has a lot of merit. There's a high tide, low tide, high tide, low tide, twice a day. And so Canada Invents. This is a lovely book by Susan Hughes. And again, these books, the indexes are great. And this has got some really amazing, clever ideas of things that people have come up with, and it's beautifully laid out. It's most inviting, and so, oh, here's Wallace Rupert Turnbull, and so the inventors. Great Ideas in Canadian Enterprise by J.J. Brown. And it looks like it's going to also give lots of visuals. Yes, here it is. There's Alexander Graham Bell with things that he was working on for gliding kites, and he worked on other things than just the telephone. Here's Turnbull again, and who did this? Yeah, so there's again rich ideas in this book, and a great index, and the need to take some risk at times. So these 3 books are for I would say 10-year-old and up. Piero Ventura, there once was a time, looking at Inventions. He's an artist, Italian artist, and he's written and put together loads of books. This looks at things over a period of time. I put a little bookmark in here because there's the building of windmills. Again, wind power could grind flour and things like that. But there's a lot of things for the eye to take in and appreciate on all the pages in it. And I think maybe I've got another one here because I wanted to show you here's water power again, the old water mill. And so the next book is, and I like these cutaways where you see inside a house, and so who invented it and what makes it work? This is by Sarah Leslie, Leslie, illustrated by Tom O'Sullivan. And this is for, I would say, younger, maybe 9-year-olds or so, because there's less print. But there's the artwork. This is the Telegraph, Samuel Morse, and gonna have a little brief look at the Telegraph in the next video. There's the Wright brothers, and so that's the format for the book. Who invented it and what makes it work? Now, what makes it work is covered in more detail in this book. The Way Things Work. David Macaulay, From Levers to Laser Cars to Computers, Visual Guide to the World of Machines. It's a heavy little book, and index at the back is thorough, and if I can get it, so it's half a page there, these 2 pages, and 2 more pages. So there's a lot covered in this, and I didn't have anything in particular. String and percussion instruments, for example, he's just microscopes, binoculars. So I think that for adults would be, but I think younger people as well. Well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, bye for now.